Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope the week went well for you, as well as the weekend. We are back, and this is kind of old school, isn't it? This takes us back to when we first started. Interesting thing, especially for those of you that use Windows. If you hadn't updated your main device in a while, when you go to turn it on, after a week of not using it, expect to have to do some updates. So that's what happened this morning. I hadn't used my main content creating computer in a while, and so now it's updating. But now, as always, we're not going to allow this to stop the show. We're going to keep going. As I mentioned, man, I hope things are going well for you. And as always, on Monday, our focus is to be positive. Our focus is to talk about things that is going to uplift us for the coming week. And so one thing I wanted to share with you is a bit of good news, very good news. I'd like to formally thank Humphreys County High School, actually the whole Humphreys County School District. We had a meeting with Mr. Hodo, and the meeting was absolutely productive. The focus of the meeting was to see if the program that I'm involved with could be of use to the school district. And of course, we found a way to make that happen. And so at this point, there are 33 students that are attending school in the district that have a disability, and we are committed to delivering 33 desktop or laptop computers to those individuals. And Mr. Hodo was very adamant about getting this done after being introduced to the program. And within a week, Mr. Hodo was able to produce these results. I say hats off to him, man. He's a very devoted individual, man, and it seems that he wants to take Humphreys County in the right direction. And so anything that I can do to help, I'm on board with that. And so that's a bit of good news. I wanted to get into the school districts in the Delta to try to see if we could help individuals in those particular school districts. And Humphreys County High, of course, would be the first one. And so I'm thankful for that. And that's an accomplishment. That's one of the goals that I had set for this particular contracting year. And already, man, we're off to a good start. So I did a thing, you all. I did a thing. And if you know me, man, you know I'm not really flashy. It's not something that I'm really interested in. I'm more of a traditional guy, man. I just, you make it and put it up, right? Because who knows when you'll need it. But I did a thing, right? Did a little thing here, man. It was time to get another cell phone anyway. My daughter had bought me one, and I had been using that one for quite a while. And she didn't begrudge me for buying another one. So now we're using the Samsung Z Fold 3. And it's an alright phone. It's pretty good. I would call it a business person's phone because really the features of it are geared toward business. And then even the screen, when you unfold it, you can buy a stylus where you can sign contracts and take notes and things of that sort. So usually when there is a milestone, when I accomplish a little something, then I'll get a little something, Not anything too big. But now let's get on to the topic that we'll talk about this morning. And the topic is work. Or rather, how do you view work? And now this particular live is more for the brothers, the young men, as well as the grown-ups, right? How do you view work? And now, why do I ask that question? Well, take a look at this. And I know what you're thinking. You're saying, Marcus, why in the world are you holding a flower decoration in your hand? Well, as I mentioned, this is really the reason for this live this morning. Let me tell you the story, because I got a story, right? So last week, I took a trip to Summerall, Mississippi, down south. And evidently there isn't anyone in the area who is contracting with this particular company who's able to install smart devices in people's homes. And so 2-hour drive. And after that 2-hour drive, I made it to the customer's home, right? And so we installed a few smart devices to help the customer out. They're up in age. Mr. Bobby, he is 75 and his wife is 71, right? And so the children are all around the country, and they want the ability to be able to check on their mom and dad and to speak with them. And so that was the purpose of the smart device. But then also there were some devices that were placed outside the home to ensure their safety. Okay? And after the devices were installed, Mr. Bobby took me into the back, into his workshop. And in his workshop, you see, he makes these. He does custom woodworking. And I must admit, man, when he took me into his workshop, I was pleasantly surprised. Mr. Bobby is very skilled at what he does. So, as you can imagine, all of the pieces, even though they were intricate, they all had their own flavor, you know. But you could tell that he took a lot of pride in what he did. And throughout the conversation that I had with Mr. Bobby, as well as his wife, I come to find out that they had a very traditional view of work. His wife made the statement that there is no job, notice this point now, there is no job that doesn't come without dignity. Any job that a person takes on, there's a certain dignity that comes with that job because you're earning a living for yourself. And I thought that was a powerful point. And of course, Mr. Bobby, he agreed. And at this particular point, he shared a few things with me about his life, about the work that he did, and about how it was that he took pride in providing for his family. So much so that he had children that had gone on to accomplish great things, but the basis for the achievement of his family was the work that he did. And so that was something that I thought about. I thought quite a bit about it even after I left, because the way that you look at work will determine whether or not you reach the outcome that you're looking for. Now, why do I say that? It's simple. Because if you are on the job and you're simply working that job just to make ends meet, that's one goal to have. Because, of course, we all need the necessary funds to take care of our responsibilities. We need that, no problem. But now when you look at your job as a way of reaching goals that you have set, now you've gone to another level. Because it wasn't just providing the necessities for Mr. Bobby and his wife. That wasn't the goal. The goal was to have a solid foundation that his children could then use that foundation to grow and to be more productive. And then as a whole, the family is on a better footing because of the efforts that Mr. Bobby put forth, him and his wife. And so I think that there's a difference between working and being productive. Because working will undoubtedly satisfy the things that you have to come up with, the necessities. But being productive is working toward a goal. Do you see the difference? Now that's what Mr. Bobby was talking about. He was talking about work that would lead to the end result of achieving a goal. His goal in particular was to make sure that his family was on a firm financial footing. They had a good foundation to begin with, and he was able to do that. So the question is, what is your goal? What are you working toward? Are you going to work just to clock in this morning and say, okay, well, I'm here and my paycheck better be right at the end of the week, or at the end of 2 weeks, or at the end of the month? Or is there a higher aspiration when it comes to working? Because see, you're supposed to see good for your hard work. That's what Solomon said. That's the gift that you're given as a result of your labor, your toil. You're supposed to see good. But one of the main ways to see good is to set a goal. You say, okay, now I want to achieve this. And I know I can achieve it if I work X amount of hours, right? Or if I put in time to become skilled in this particular area, then I can attain this certification. Or if I'm skilled in this particular area, then maybe I can start my own business. So it's good to have goals. It's good to have goals because what you'll see is you get more out of the work that you do when you can look at something and say, okay, this is what I'm working toward. And then when you finally achieve the thing that you're working toward, right? What happens? Then now you have the mindset to keep going and to set bigger and better goals. And so what you're doing now is you're focusing on the good results of your hard work. And make no mistake, anytime hard work is involved, there are going to be some benefits. But now, in regards to what benefits are available to you, it depends on what goals you set. And so I think that was a good thought for this morning. Mr. Bobby and his wife, they were living comfortably. As I mentioned, Mr. Bobby was 75, his wife was 71. And the conversation that we had lent itself toward me believing that Mr. Bobby had set goals for himself in his life. And at this particular point in life, he had achieved most, if not all, his goals. And because of the fact that he had achieved those goals, then he was happy. He was happy with life at this point. He had provided a firm foundation for his family, for his children. Everyone was doing well. And so he took a lot of pride in it. And I couldn't blame him. I couldn't blame him because as men, and especially as young men, we cannot be afraid to work to meet our goals. We cannot be afraid to make and set goals because you're steering yourself in a particular direction. You're not just haphazard. You're not just wasting energy and resources. No, you have a particular destination in mind. And every step you take toward that destination, it builds your confidence. It builds your ability to believe that you can achieve the things that you set as a goal. And that's important as a man. Because if you set the goal of having a family, you set the goal of having children, if you set the goal of being married, all of these particular areas, as a matter of fact, everything in life requires effort. It requires hard work. So as men, and I'm speaking especially to the young men, that we should be able to formulate in our mind a desire to work. Working is necessary because working leads to a productive outcome. And so with that productive outcome, as we mentioned, comes all of these positive attributes, man. You feel good about yourself. You're more confident in your abilities because now that you achieved the goal that you set in place, now you know that you're able. You know you have the ability to go further. You are able to make it to this point. Now let's push the limits and go a little further. And I think that was a powerful thought for this particular morning, man, because a lot of times, and I do it myself, we get caught up in the work itself. And sometimes when we do that, then we're painting a negative picture because we're thinking, okay, well, I got to do these particular hours and then I'll be done. Instead of looking at it as being a stepping stone to something better, a stepping stone to achieving goals that you set. So this morning, I just want you to think about that, man. What goals have you set? What goals have you reached this year? And if you have reached certain goals, have you taken the time to acknowledge the goals that you reached? Have you taken the time to celebrate the things that you have accomplished? That's part of it. That's part of it. So as always, man, I think I've done enough preaching for this morning, man. I want to give something positive to those who are tuning in. I want you to take away something from this, man, that could possibly help you during your week. As always now, do something positive. Okay? I guarantee you won't regret it. Do something positive and watch it come back to you in greater measure. As always, man, we thank you for tuning in. We love you.